Good evening. Part 12? Water tonight. Where we left off. Don't run, I said. They'd like an excuse to shoot us. He nodded, seeming to understand. We walked too fast along the big indoor midway. Shooting galleries, tattoo parlors, money changers, and cotton candy booths. Then out through a bank of glass doors and across the grass downhill to a parking lot where the Red Shark waited. You drive, he said. I think there's something wrong with me. Paranoid terror and the awful specter of sodomy, a flashing of knives and green water. When we got to the Mint, I parked in the street in front of the casino, around a corner from the parking lot. No point raising a scene in the lobby, I thought. Neither one of us would pass for drunk. We were both hyper-tense, extremely menacing vibrations all around us. We hurried through the casino and up the rear elevator. We made it to the room without meeting anybody, but the key wouldn't open the door. My attorney was struggling desperately with it. Those bastards have changed the locks on us, he groaned. They probably searched the room. Jesus, we're finished. Suddenly the door swung open. We hesitated, then hurried inside. No sign of trouble. Bolt everything, said my attorney. Use all chains. He was staring at 2 Mint hotel room keys in his hand. Where did this one come from? He said, holding up a key with the number 1221 on it. That's Lacerda's room, I said. He smiled. Yeah, that's right. I thought we might need it. What for? Let's go upstairs and blast him out of bed with the fire hose, he said. No. I said, we should leave the poor bastard alone. I get the feeling he's avoiding us for some reason. Don't kid yourself, he said. That Portuguese son of a bitch is dangerous. He's watching us like a hawk. He squinted at me. Have you made a deal with him? I talked with him on the phone, I said, while you were out getting the car washed. He said he was turning in early so he can get us out there to the starting line at dawn. My attorney was not listening. He uttered an anguished cry and smacked the wall with both hands. That dirty bastard, he shouted. I knew it. He got a hold of my woman. I laughed. That little blonde groupie with the film crew? You think he sodomized her? That's right. Laugh about it, he yelled. You goddamn honkies are all the same. By this time, he'd opened a new bottle of tequila and was quaffing it down. Then he grabbed a grapefruit and sliced it in half with a Gerber mini magnum, a stainless steel hunting knife with a blade like a fresh-honed straight razor. Where'd you get that knife? I asked. Room service sent it up, he said. I wanted something to cut the limes. What limes? They don't have any, he said. They don't grow out here in the desert. He sliced the grapefruit into quarters, then into eighths, then sixteenths. Then he began slashing aimlessly at the residue. That dirty-toed bastard, he groaned. I knew I should have taken him out when I had the chance. Now, he has her. I remembered the girl. We'd had a problem with her on the elevator a few hours earlier. My attorney had made a fool of himself. You must be a rider, she said. What class are you in? Class, he snapped. The fuck do you mean? What do you ride? She asked with a quick smile. We're filming the race for a TV series. Maybe we can use you. Use me? Mother of God, I thought. Here it comes. The elevator was crowded with race people. It was taking a long time to get from floor to floor. By the time we stopped at 3, he was trembling badly. 5 more to go. I ride the big ones, he shouted suddenly. The really big fuckers. I laughed, trying to diffuse the scene. Vincent Black Shadow, I said. We're with the factory team. That brought a murmur of rude dissent from the crowd. Bullshit, somebody behind me muttered. Wait a minute, my attorney shouted, and then to the girl, pardon me, lady, but I think there's some kind of ignorant chicken sucker in this car who needs his face cut open. He plunged his hand to the pocket of his black plastic jacket and turned to face the people crowded into the rear of the elevator. You cheap honky faggots, he snarled. Which one of you wants to get cut? I was watching the overhead floor indicator. The door opened at 7, but nobody moved. Dead silence. The door closed up to 8, then opened again. Still no sound or movement in the crowded car. Just as the door began to close, I stepped off and grabbed his arm, jerking him out just in time. The door slid shut and the elevator light dinged. 9. Quick! Into the room, I shouted. Those bastards will have the pigs on us. We ran around the corner of the room. My attorney was laughing wildly. Spooked! He shouted. Did you see that? They were spooked! Like rats in a death cage. Then as we bolted the door behind us, he stopped laughing. God damn, he said. It's serious now. That girl understood. She fell in love with me. Now, many hours later, he was convinced that Lacerda, the so-called photographer, had somehow got his hands on the girl. Let's go up there and castrate that fucker, he said, waving the new knife around in quick circles in front of his teeth. Did you put him onto her? Look, I said, you'd better put that goddamn blade away and get your head straight. I have to put the car back in the lot. I was backing slowly towards the door. One of the things you learn after years of dealing with drug people is that everything is serious. You can turn your back on a person, but never turn your back on a drug, especially when it's waving a razor-sharp hunting knife in your eyes. Take a shower, I said. I'll be back in 20 minutes. I left quickly, locking the door behind me and taking the key to Lacerda's room, the one my attorney had stolen earlier. That poor geek, I thought, as I hurried down the escalator. They sent him out here on this perfectly reasonable assignment. Just a few photos of motorcycles and dune buggies racing around the desert, and now he was plunged, without realizing it, into the maw of some world beyond his ken. There was no way he could possibly understand what was happening.